We're now on day 27 of the Democrat shutdown, and we want to review with you a few pertinent facts and explain a little bit about some of the really painful things that are going on around the country. Day 27 means it's almost been a full month since the Democrats shut down the government. And as we near the end of this month, the pain being felt by so many hardworking people around this country is very real, and it gets worse with each passing day. Here's some of the stats. Last week, 1.4 million federal workers missed a full paycheck. Now, you know, many of them are furloughed, and many more are deemed essential workers, those who are essential, for example, to keep the country safe. TSA agents we've discussed, and air traffic controllers, and Border Patrol, and of course our troops. But so many of them now are going without pay. The families of military service members and the air traffic controllers and so many of these others are now at very real risk of missing the paycheck at the end of this month. The Trump administration has done everything possible to bend over backwards to try to find sources of funding within the federal government to be able to cover the bases, but it is getting more and more challenging with each day. Now, every Republican in Congress wants to stop this madness desperately. And we have voted many times, over a dozen times, collectively 13 times, to reopen the government, to keep it open and reopen it once the Democrats closed it. But here's the very simple and important fact that no one should forget. We have no ability. Republicans do not have the ability to do this on our own. It's a simple math problem. We need Democrats to help. You need 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans. The Democrats are the ones voting repeatedly to shut down the government. But they're not opening it back up. They spent most of their time trying to distract the American people from the very simple truth. So I brought you a little visual aid here to just remind everybody what the simple facts are. 4 simple facts here. The Democrats are required to open the government. They keep saying Republicans are in charge of government. We aren't, not in the Senate. 60 votes control the Senate, not a bare majority. And so point number 1, Democrat votes are required to open the government. Point number 2, they refuse to do it. They have now voted 12 times to keep the government closed. And they'll have another chance today or tomorrow, maybe multiple times this week, and we'll see what they do. Now, the third point is very important because they've been trying to confuse the American people. They've tried to say this is a fight about health care or this or that or any other thing, and it's very simple. They put this on paper. They made this their demand in writing in the record of the Senate, and it has not changed. These are just 4 subpoints there under fact number 3, but there's many more. But among the things they're demanding, this is what the Democrats in the Senate are demanding to reopen the government. They want to give $200 billion in health benefits to illegal aliens and non-citizens, paid for by U.S. taxpayers. That is in their proposal. They want billions in wasteful programs to be returned to foreign countries. So we stopped these things. They want to turn it all back on. They're demanding that we do all that to get the government open for hardworking Americans again. They want to give $500 million to left-leaning news organizations, and they want to cut $50 billion from rural hospitals. We will not do those things, and they know that very well. Which leads us to point number 4. The Democrats have now openly admitted, and you all had to cover it last week, that they're using the pain of the American people as their leverage. That was the number 2 ranked Democrat in the House, the Democrat, the minority whip, who said that, acknowledged it in an interview, that this is leverage. And Chuck Schumer himself boasted that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. That's his now infamous quote that he wishes he had not said out loud. But you know what they're doing and why. Why are they demanding these things? Why is point number 3 so essential to them? Why would they do this? Because it's unprecedented, as we've noticed, and reminded you all, they voted for CRs every time it was possible in their lives, as recently as March of this year. But they're doing it to appease their far-left Marxist base. That's the headline. That's why. That's why we're all in this mess. That's why the American people are suffering pain, because the Democrats are more afraid of the Marxist in their base than they are of hardworking Americans. See, they've made an evaluation that they have to appease the Marxist base, that they're so concerned that they'll lose their jobs if they don't appease the far left in their party. And they sat in a back room and they made the calculation that they would rather shut the government down and impose all this pain on the American people because they believe the Marxists, the far left in the base, are more active than hardworking Americans, people who go vote. And so they made the calculation that it's worth it to them. Every day gets better for us. We'll use the pain as leverage. For what? to prove to the far left base that they won't give in, that they'll fight Trump and fight the Republicans. What are they fighting? It's a clean CR. It's the same level of funding that they have voted for as recently as earlier this year. They are Biden-level policies and spending. This is not some Republican wish list. We don't have any of our priorities in this at all. It's the Democrats' own product. But they have decided to flip the script this time because they were getting too much heat from the far left. The facts are so simple. And I'll give you Exhibit B as to why this is so true. On Friday, there was a little bit of a seismic shift in politics. All of you noticed it over the weekend. We saw our clearest sign yet that this radical insurgent movement in the Democrat Party is succeeding. And they are ending what has always been known as the Democrat Party in America. After a months-long pressure campaign from the far left, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries finally relented. He gave in, and he gave his endorsement to the socialist running to be mayor of New York City. The House Democrats have chosen a side. They were forced to by that far left that they're so terrified of, and they've shown the world what they really believe. There is no longer a place for centrists and moderates in their party. The candidate that they have endorsed, Mamdani, is somebody who we've talked about a lot from this podium. He's sympathized with Hamas and openly embraced anti-Semitic language. He has called to, quote, seize the means of production because he is a Marxist. He's called to abolish our borders, to abolish and end immigration enforcement, to defund the police, and to legalize prostitution, among a long list of hits that I could share with you. Zoran Mamdani is expected to take the helm of one of the most important cities in the world and the largest city in America. And he now has the full blessing of the Democrat leader in the House of Representatives. It is shocking. And that leader and all the other Democrats are going to co-own the consequences of what they do to America's largest city. Every reporter in this room should be asking every House Democrat individually whether they too agree with Hakeem's endorsement of the Marxist agenda. It's an extraordinary moment in the history of American politics, as this is not the kind of history that we need to be making. What we're witnessing is truly the end of the Democratic Party as we've known it. And even some Democrats are now saying that out loud. You can see it in their interviews. I watched one last night. All this is directly related to the Democrats' shutdown show. Why? Because just like they decided to save their own skin, that they had to endorse the Marxist Mamdani in an unprecedented move, they have also decided they had to shut down the government in an unprecedented move. No matter the pain it inflicts upon hardworking American people, they were simply more afraid of the Marxists in their party than they are of voters. For the sake of our country, we pray that their calculation is wrong. We believe it is dead wrong. And as much as they try to obscure it, as much as they try to distract you, as much as they try to say that it's about any other issue under the sun, all those issues were always scheduled to be decided. Healthcare, the expiring Obamacare subsidies, the NDAA, the appropriations, all these other things, it was always on the calendar for Republicans and Democrats to hash it out in October, November, and December. This is not a surprise to Republicans. It's not a surprise to Democrats, and they all know it. That is the only thing they could grasp onto to try to give some sort of argument, to try to give cover for the fact that they're running from the far left base of their party. Facts are facts. And the ball is fully in the court of the Senate Democrats now. Who are they going to respond to? The American people, I think hardworking American families need to be a little more vocal. I think they need to call some of these Senate offices and tell them to stop the games. They need to know they should fear the American people worse than the Marxists who are trying to take over their party. And my friends, that is exactly what is going on right here. Now, I want to zoom in because we have a special guest and just focus on a group of men and women who are seeing the impact of this shutdown in their bottom line every single day, and that is America's small business owners. See, small businesses are the largest employers in our country. But unlike Washington Democrats, they don't have the luxury to wait out this shutdown. For many of them, federal contracts have been frozen, SBA loans and support have dried up, and business has dropped off due to uncertainty in the markets. A survey of small business owners across the country found that for the 1 in 5 small business owners who rely on government contracts, this shutdown is forcing them to pull back on their investments. And what are those investments? It's new hires, new jobs, it's supplies and services. They have to pull back on those things so that they can make payroll work, so they can keep their employees employed. One business in Raleigh, North Carolina that relies on federal environmental approval said this, quote, "The backlog that is generated by the shutdown will last long beyond today." Another business in Georgia, Ms. Loeffler's home state, specializes in home repairs, added, quote, "When livelihoods are affected in such a manner, home repairs and projects get delayed if not canceled. Our government shutdown is a threat to us all." For American businesses that rely on loans from the SBA, each day means crucial dollars lost, and that affects every American at the end of the day. Small businesses across the country are being forced to go without roughly $170 million in SBA-backed loans each day, and that adds up to $4.5 billion in blocked loans just over the course of this shutdown so far. So while Chuck Schumer says that every day gets better for his party, every day is getting much, much harder for the people who are keeping the lights on around the country.